What's up, guys? On this week's show,
Upgrade,
Carmen Sandiego,
and Worst of the Year.
All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared. With me are my co-hosts, Benwah.
That's one name, like Cher or Adele.
And DJ Melly Mel.
Hey!
All right, kids, now, before we get started, I want to let you know, if you enjoy the show, tell some friends about us. Share us on your social media. Whatever you choose to do, you're helping us let others know about the best damn podcast they've probably never heard of. Now, as to where you can find us if you want to talk, the show is on Twitter at Giant Leap, the number 4 Geeks. You can get a hold of DJ Melly Mel at Froggy Beaver, and Benwah is at Benwah Gaming. That's BENWAH Gaming on Twitter. We are going to be doing our second half of the best and worst of list this week. So, trigger warning, ahead of time. So, you know, I know for a fact at least one person is going to be mad at me by the end of this list. Maybe more. We'll see how many torches and pitchforks and shit we can get thrown at us by the end of this. Well, we'll see how it goes.
You say us, get them thrown at you.
What? I'm sure you're going to say something that's going to piss somebody off.
Oh, I'm sure. My number one is...
I'm sure and Ben will as well.
My number one's going to piss off some people, and it's going to be praised by some people.
Now, you didn't quantify your list, right?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I did mine, though.
It
was hard, but I did.
Okay.
And I'm starting to wonder, like, just how many of these items are going to be the same. Like, how... Are we going to see eye to eye on some of these without knowing it?
Probably.
Maybe. I have a feeling maybe there might be some bleed over, at least with me and Mel for one, for sure. Maybe.
I'm starting to think Mel and I might have one that's the same.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be a unique twist.
I was going to say, I'm like, oh, the suspense.
Ben and I don't ever share on anything.
Well, we'll see. Okay, but before we get into that, what you been doing?
Well... I got the tote so I could take my tree down.
Finally.
Yes, that was
It's
exciting.
only January 8th? Yeah, that's all good.
Well,
yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Technically, T-Money got me the tote, and I got a shout out to him. He's the best.
Mm-hmm.
T-Money!
Mm-hmm.
But I can't take the tree down until Friday.
Oh, well, I mean, it'll come down eventually. And like I said, just keep leaving it until Valentine's Day. Fuck it.
No, I want my living
Just
room back.
do what I did in, like, 2017 and don't take the tree down.
Right, dude, just leave it up all year. Like, it's always Christmas.
Yeah, no. This ain't Bronner's.
Yeah, no, you don't want that. No.
I'm done with it. 2019 is here. The tree can go bye-bye.
Okay.
I've realized that in my old age, I'm wanting that tree down quick and easy.
I was like, you better than me, because like I said, if I had my way, that shit wouldn't even go up. You get some presents, put that shit on the table in a circle, and it'd be like, there you go. Merry Christmas shit. Look, I'll put some tinsel on there just to make it look, decorative.
Oh, God, no, not tinsel. That's worse than confetti.
Yeah, well.
At least confetti you can vacuum. Tinsel, it gets wound up all up in there. And
all right, a wreath. Is that better?
No, wreaths are ugly. But I took my Christmas decorations out at my office today.
Okay.
I did that. That was my one piece of mind today. So by next week, all of them will be down. So kudos to me for that, for future planning of taking holiday decorations down.
Good job.
That's
way to be proactive.
Yes. My one good thing this week.
All right, Benwah, what about yourself?
Well, I recently acquired a bulletproof vest, which I might need after this worst of 2018 list.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Oh, man. We're going to be on fire this week.
Yeah, no, but I mean, on the real, though, a couple days ago I watched both Wrestle Kingdom 13 and New Year's Dash. I am a huge New Japan fan, if you guys don't know. I like wrestling, though my name, Benwah, has nothing to do with the wrestler whose name we shall not speak of.
Nor does it have to do with WWE.
Yeah, nothing to do with them. Not just that, but I also got to working on the Random Retroness Tour 2019. Like I did mention last week, I was cataloging my lists and checking it twice. Over 5,000 games are possible for me to play this year. Every game I do stream, I'm going to end up ripping that footage, editing it a bit and uploading to YouTube in long play form. So people can probably not watch any of it. But it's keeping me busy.
I'll watch it for you, Ben.
That is a lot of games, bro.
Well, a lot of them are... I don't like saying anything past 2000 is retro, but technically they all will fall under that retro banner. So some of these games, could be beaten in less than an hour. Some games, specifically RPGs or maybe some sports titles, might take, multiple hours. But I can get through quite a few of them pretty quickly.
NBA Jam?
That is on the list.
Yes.
I'm letting my viewers, those who happen to cheer or donate or sub or whatever, are going to be able to pick, numbers from that list of random games. Starting tomorrow, actually, the same day that we're going to be uploading this podcast, the first video will go online on YouTube.
So what happens if somebody picks a game that you've already played?
Well, that game goes off the list. Like, once I play a game, it goes off the list. And eventually the numbers will end up being less than 5,000 because I don't want to end up running into duplicates.
Gotcha.
However, if a game happens to have been released on multiple platforms, it may get played twice because sometimes games get ported or they're just slightly different or varied in a way. So there probably will be some times where I may end up playing the same game twice.
Okay. Yeah, because I know sometimes it'll be like different levels or characters or something.
Yeah. And it's a lot of work to edit and splice the footage up, but I'm hoping, if possible, I will have enough footage that I can at least upload one session a day, every weekday, every Monday through Friday, starting with tomorrow. That should coincide with around the same time this podcast ends up live.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. That sounds like you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, I know.
Ben.
I was going to say that. I'm like, that sounds like I got tired listening to it. I was like, God damn, that sounds like a lot of work.
It is. Oh, it's a lot of work. The whole streaming thing, though, was just a way to keep me keep me in the house, keep me in the house and keep me from spending money I don't have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It sounds like a sound plan. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about you, Mike? What you been doing?
I have a
tread lightly, sir.
That's why I made it a point to say trigger warning at the beginning of this episode, because somebody, more than most likely, no one who partakes in this particular thing is going to hear this because of the, I'll explain. So
you're being very vague.
I know. Well, because you got to build up the suspense.
Spit it out, man.
So we went to dinner.
Okay.
On Saturday.
Oh, I've done that before.
I know, and it's nice, right?
Yeah.
No, we went to dinner at this kind of southern barbecue themed type restaurant, right? And it was the food was okay. It was all right, like no big deal. and so, but the restaurant itself was fine. That wasn't what the issue was. What the issue was is who we got seated next to. So I don't know if they were Amish per se, but it was a family, and it was just the dad, I think, or husband, and a bunch of women of varying ages. It was steps of different generations. It was the older lady, and then younger and younger, and there was a younger girl. And
so the Amish or Mormon?
I don't know. That's the thing. If they were Mormon or Amish, I don't know.
Did the guy have little curlies on the side?
He didn't have ringlets. No.
Okay.
No, he didn't have
ringlets. So he's not Jewish.
Yeah,
not Jewish.
No, I was going to say he's not a rabbi. But I spent the whole night wondering if the women with him were his daughters or his wives. I weren't sure, and I wanted to just come, kind of look over and see, do they wear rings? Do Mormons believe in wedding rings? Or Amish people? I don't know.
I think maybe just a gold band. I don't know.
Because I was conflicted, because I was like, well, if they're Amish, they probably wouldn't be at a restaurant with TVs and shit, right? Because ain't they supposed to be technology is the devil?
Well, not necessarily. There is varying degrees. I mean...
different denominations or whatever.
Well, not just that, but I mean, it's kind of hard to seclude yourself. Sometimes you have to actually deal with, the public and coming out into modern technology.
They're the
However,
Amish.
I'm under, if I remember this right, if they were truly Amish, I don't think Amish people, they might wear, like, rings to signify a bond, but I don't think they would wear diamonds. Like, they don't believe in material goods like that.
Sure. Because I know sometimes at my work, we sometimes get Amish people that come in there and stuff like that. So, yeah. Well, either way, I was concerned for the young women because I was just like, some of the girls look like they were like maybe in their teens. And I'm just like, is that like legal? I mean, religion and shit aside, I'm like, can you do that? Like, I didn't know.
R. Kelly did it.
Speaking of which, I want to see that R. Kelly documentary as well. But nothing happened. I didn't bug these poor people and make a big scene about it. But the whole time, like, my food got cold because I was just sitting there just wondering, like, are these his wives? I wonder. And I was just like, I debated on like having the waitress go over there and just like, could you just somehow subtly just bring it up, and just see what they say or something? And I'm like, no, they probably leave and not tip her or some shit. And then I'd have to give her a double tip because that whole group of people just walked out on her.
She's looking at you, this dumb motherfucker here, asking me all these damn questions.
Yeah. But other than that, it was a good dinner. it was weird, but yeah.
I believe that you can get married at whatever age as long as you have parental consent. And you have to be at least 12.
Oh, God.
Or 12 or 13, I
God,
think.
we need to change our marriage laws. What the fuck? Oh, God.
They're in the process. They're in the process.
But then again, despite the fact there were a lot of women or girls there, doesn't necessarily mean there is something marriage going on. They could just have a really big family that turns out to have a lot more girls.
That's what I was thinking, but I was like, the likelihood that he would have nothing but daughters, though? Or maybe the boys can't come. They have to stay and protect the land.
I think that's...
You gotta protect the sheep, boy.
Okay, I think that's more likely is that it's just a guy with a bunch of daughters.
Yeah. In my mind, I like to believe
older there.
Yeah, in my mind, I like to believe that was just his harem of women.
Yeah.
I'll just let me die thinking that's what happened. All right, let me have this.
One dude, 8 vaginas.
Right there, you go. Yeah, shit. What? It's like that show but they came and like took his kids and shit though. It was on like TLC for a while. It was a show about like this.
12 and counting or something like that.
Sister Wives?
Sister Wives, yes, that's the one.
Oh, you're talking about that show. Okay,
yeah, that polygamous family, yeah. Anyway.
I thought you were talking about the one with like a dozen, because there was one. Wasn't the family even from Michigan that had like a dozen kids?
Yeah, it was more than that actually, yeah.
Or 19 kids and counting.
It was something, like that poor woman's vagina was just a fucking...
It was like, y'all trying to get money for a damn wall, but you're going to pay for these fuckers?
Yeah, well, hey, somebody's got to do it, right? But anyway, moving on. This week, something happened. Netflix has again tried to mine my childhood for gold, and I don't know how I feel about it just yet.
Okay. No. Bad Netflix. Bad.
I'm kind of with Ben on this one. Actually, I'm a lot with Ben on this one.
Damn, no love.
Carmen Sandiego was one of my absolute favorite shows. And...
Was it though?
No, it really was because we were broke and we didn't have any cables, so we had an antenna.
Hey, okay.
And I loved that show. I really did.
I appreciated Carmen Sandiego as well. But after watching this, it made me realize I don't remember much from the original show. I just remember she was a thief and there were some kids following her in like a video game type thing, but that's all I really remember. What was that show even about?
The cartoon was not... Well, technically there is no official canon of Carmen Sandiego, but the cartoon was a spin-off of the game, the PC game that ended up getting released like on, SNES and NES. But originally, and the cartoon was meh. Carmen Sandiego was a thief working for Vile. She was actually the head of Vile.
And she was a villain in the show.
Yeah, she's a villain in the show. Yeah. She's a thief. She's been a villain in everything, which is why I don't like the fact they're going to make her like a Robin Hood style anti-hero. I don't like that. She came from a game, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, that got released for the PC like in 1985. That later got turned into a game show, which is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. I watched that shit on PBS when I was in elementary school. And you gotta know that song, right? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Rockapella kills it. If somebody wants to send me a Rockapella album, I will love you a long time. But basically, Carmen Sandiego is a thief, and she's a ruthless, cruel thief. And every new reiteration of her tends to make her a little more good, despite being bad. And in this, just from the trailer alone, it makes it sound like she is a Robin Hood. She wants to become a thief. She joins Vile, which in all actuality, she was the leader, despite there not being any canon. And she's like, wait a minute, I don't want to steal because that's wrong, so I'm going to steal the things that the thieves want to steal, because I'm a good thief.
It's kind of like the show Leverage.
And no, you're not. Bad Netflix. No.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It almost feels like they're trying to turn her into like Catwoman, almost. Where she's like kind of good, but doing bad shit for good reasons. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that.
She's almost like chaotic good.
Yeah. I do appreciate, though, that she's getting like an origin story, kind of like a la Batman Begins and shit. It's like she's being like trained by Tibetan monks and shit, and she knows kung fu. Okay, maybe not the Tibetan monks part, but still, she's doing like jujitsu and all this shit and flipping and coming down like Mission Impossible from wires and shit. And I'm just like, I don't remember any of this from the original cartoon, but sure, hey, if you're going to be a super thief, you guess you need to know karate.
Right.
You got to beat the shit out of security guards, I guess. So.
Well, yeah, because she can't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, there is no official canon to the game.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, canon to the character. However, in the original game, she actually was a former spy for, like, Monaco or some European country or something that decided to just go off and do her own shit. And then, like, in the new edition, she wound up being the head thief of Vile, like I mentioned. And she's a bad person, period. She is a bad person.
They've turned her into a good guy, kind of.
Yes.
One thing I will say, though, I mean, because we're kind of ragging on it, but I do like the animation style. Like, I like the way it's drawn and just, like, the backdrops and just how it's animated. Like, I appreciate that. It kind of gave me vibes of like Ben 10, kind of Kim Possible type thing. And I like those shows. So I'm like,
Speaking of Kim Possible, do you know that she's getting a live action?
Yeah, I've been kind of debating on whether we should talk about that or not, but yeah. I'm very much aware.
I was watching something at work and it flashed on and I was like, okay. I went about my business with my client, and I was getting them ready, and all of a sudden I hear, do-do-do-do. I'm like, oh, hell no.
I'm just kind of salty, because I'm like, why couldn't we got a Ben 10? I want a Ben... Look, if we're going to be rebooting in live action and shit, Ben 10 is a dope idea. Like, that could be a cool-ass movie. Like, he can turn into, like, all these different animals and creatures and shit like that, and then he has, like, other... He can, like... double down on shit and be like, oh, I want to have the abilities of this and this thing. Like, that would be a cool movie. I would totally watch that.
So like a Wildcrats kind of thing?
Kinda, but not as whack. I'm sorry. Just the way she looked at me, she's like, fuck you. Okay. I think we're all kind of in agreement that we're not too plussed on this, right?
No,
we're not too happy.
Enjoying the reboot for Carmen Sandiego.
I would watch it, though, just to see what they do with it. But
I don't like that they've kind of made her into a younger kid, either.
Well, it's the origin story. You gotta get... Because, well, in the beginning of the trailer, she has, like, a shorter haircut. Then by the end, she's in her full-on with the hat and the coat and the long hair.
Yeah, but she still looks like a kid.
Yeah. I honestly should have went back and researched the original show better, but I was like, whatever, I'll just wait.
What do you want to know about Carmen Sandiego?
Well, shit, I guess we're going to find out everything from this show, because, I mean, like you said, there's no canon to her. She was just kind of the villain. She was kind of like paper thin. Well,
it really depends on whether you watch the original TV series or you played any of the games, because even in a couple of the games, the story's a little bit different. Like I said, the original game, she was a former spy. Like, in other iterations, she was a former member of Acme who turned bad. However, in all these iterations, whether or not she had a little bit of like goodness in her, she always was a thief. It's just two different variances of like badness, for lack of a better term.
Well, at least they're being consistent with that.
Yeah. And I didn't watch much of the cartoon. The cartoon was, I think, produced by like Deke. If you remember a kid at the end of those shows, you're like, Deke! It was for like a bedroom. Yeah. It was on, I want to say it was syndicated to Fox. I think it was part of the Saturday morning lineup.
Yeah, it was right in between Bobby's World and... Oh, God, what was that other one?
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't think it was ever... I mean, now, I don't think it was specifically for Fox. I think it was syndicated and aired on Fox affiliates. I could be wrong about that. If it was syndicated, then it would be on at different times, traditionally, depending on what your affiliate is wherever you live.
Sure.
I didn't watch the cartoon that much, but I love the game show. I didn't really watch so much like the sequel to it, Where in Time, because I was already in junior high at that point, but I loved PBS, Channel 19 to us, Monday through Friday at 5. And that was even part of the song that a cappella would sing.
See, that's the one that I watched, was Where in Time was Carmen Sandiego. I never played the games, and I never watched the game show.
See, I didn't even know that it had went that far. I just remember the original show.
It was made by a company called Bunder Braun, or it sounds like European or something. It's not, but it sounds like it.
It does.
I originally played it back on the old Apple IIc. Like on floppy disk, like real floppy disk.
Oh, yeah.
And then I played...
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I played I've played like the console versions too, but I just remember playing that on the PC, like on the old Apple. And I loved it. And then the game show was on, and I loved that because I used to watch that. And then right after that at 5:30, I'd watch Square One TV, which later became time slot, ended up going to Bill Nye.
Is it sad that you said the old Apple and I pictured the Color Max?
Yeah, no, before that.
I mean, like the late 70s, early
what
80s
you're talking
Apple
about, but my
PCs.
first thought was the colored back plastic Max.
Those were cool though. I did want
the
one
matching
of those.
mouse and
the monochrome, and you had to, it didn't have like any OS built into it because it didn't have enough space in the hard drive. You had to upload, or not upload, but you had to actually stick a disk in that it could read.
Yep.
And if you did not stick in the floppy disk, it would just
Yep.
Because Apple was shit then and it's shit now. Anyway.
That's right.
No, Apple was not shit.
Yes, it is. Moving on.
Oh, nowadays I'm not a fan, but no.
All right. Moving on.
Welcome to Benwah's Wabbit Hole. It's where I, Benwah, give you a brief synopsis of random things I found interesting on the internet. Some of these things may be further elaborated on in future podcasts, but I'd recommend you dig deeper for yourself if you're interested. The views and opinions expressed into Wabbit Hole are those of Benwah and Benwah's alone and do not necessarily reflect the position of any member, affiliate, or future sponsor, despite us not having any, of One Giant Leap for Geeks. Are you a fan of the cartoon Gargoyles, which ran from 94 to 97? Well, back in June 2018, the actor, comedian, and director of Get Out and the upcoming film Us, scheduled for release on March 15th, Jordan Peele pitched the idea of a live-action movie adaptation of Gargoyles to Disney. Nothing came from it, but I want to see that shit. Make it happen. But as for things that are happening, producer Jordan Monsanto has been in talks with Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith about a Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Kevin Smith had been teasing a new film since 2017, having announced that he'd written a script which would see our Jersey boys heading back to Hollywood to stop a reboot of Bloodman and Chronic. A reboot about preventing a reboot? How meta. Hopefully they'll go from the pre-production mode into production mode sooner than later. The annual speedrunning charity event known as Awesome Games Done Quick is currently happening in Rockville, Maryland. Since 2010, speedrunners from around the world have come together to complete games as quickly as possible for our entertainment and to raise money for charity. Last year, they raised over $2 million for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. As of this recording, they are currently in the Sonic block and have raised over $385,000. They started this marathon back on January 6th and will be live through the turn of the day on Sunday, January 13th, where they'll be ending with a run of Super Metroid in which Shiny Zenny will be taking on the bosses in reverse order. If this interests you, watch them live at twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick or one of the multiple restreams of the event. You can catch previous speedruns of games at GDQ on YouTube, and every year they're quicker to upload the current runs to YouTube. If you have the means and inclination, please donate to the Prevent Cancer Foundation and help stop cancer before it starts. If you're a fan of professional wrestling from back in the rock and wrestling era like me, you may be familiar with the name Mean Gene Okerlund. Unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 76 last Wednesday, January 2nd. Prior to his 30-plus year tenure in the wrestling business, he formed a band in his high school days named Gene Carroll and the Shades. They released a couple of singles, which you can find on YouTube. I suggest you give them a listen. Gene worked in radio and television until joining Vern Gagne's American Wrestling Association in 1970. It was there he was given the name Mean Gene Okerlund by future Minnesota Governor Jesse the Body Ventura. That nickname was ironic, though, given how he had the reputation as being one of the nicer people in the business. Hell, he even served as best man in Iron Sheiky Baby's wedding. In 1984, he jumped ship amongst others to the then World Wrestling Federation as they were slowly expanding from a Northeast territory to a national promotion. Hosting shows such as Tuesday Night Titans and later All-American Wrestling on the USA Network, he became their top interviewer and often hosted promotional segments and the occasional Madison Square Garden house show. Upon contract expiration, Mean Gene moved on to World Championship Wrestling, where he worked on and off till their closure in 2001 before returning back to the WWF/WWE, where he would do voiceover work and sporadically make appearances until his dying days. Rest in peace, Mean Gene.
And now back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
This week, kind of, sort of, but not really. Mm-hmm. So we did something a little bit different.
Okay.
Because we are doing our finale to the best and worst of 2018, I put a call out to have people submit what their worst things were of 2018. I was like, it could be anything that you like. It could be a movie, an event, your dog ate your shoes, whatever. And
what you guys don't know is that if you happen to match any one of our top 5 lists, we will send you $100. No, I'm playing.
You're right. I was
saying,
you
don't put that shit out there.
I was going to say, Benwah, you can reach him at Benwah Gaming for your collection.
Benwah is handling all collections.
But so I just wanted to go over a few real quick, and because I thought these were kind of funny. So the first one we got was from Two Girls on the Bench. Shout out to Trisha and Shauna.
Holla.
They said, we love our kids, but kind of I know, right? Anytime we love our kids, but it's like, ooh, this is going to be bad. But we hate the long holiday break from school. Take them back. And I was like, no, I can understand that. Because I remember when I was a kid, like, pretty much like holiday break, summer vacation was like hell. Like so much so to the point where my grandma would send me to Detroit for the summer to pretty much live with my great aunt, who treated me like a 11-year-old grandfather, because she didn't have children in her house and she was older. So, and her husband, he was dead and gone and all this stuff. So I was just like the substitute man in her life for the summer. Not in like a weird way like that, but like she treated me like I was an adult. Like I got served black coffee and like scrambled eggs in the morning, and I swear she'd be like, "Here's your pack of cigarettes, honey." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, I'm 11. Like, what are you doing?" So I can understand that. Yeah. Shit, I know for a while they were playing with the idea of getting rid of like holiday breaks and summer vacations and shit like that.
Yeah, and then it proved that it's not good for students to...
It's burnout. Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, look, man, quit trying to make us like these fucking kids in China and shit that fucking go to school like year round and get beat
7 days a week. And, no, fuck that.
Right.
Nope. I don't even have kids yet, and I've already got a list of specifications that the school can and cannot do for my
you finna be one of them moms. Oh, shit.
No.
They could be like, we're gonna have to ask you to take your child out of our school, man. But our next one came from Boobies and Newbies on Twitter. They are at Boobies Podcast. Oh, and Two Girls on the Bench are at Two Girls on the Bench as well. Sorry, I forgot.
Boobies and Newbies. Huh?
Can you repeat that? Boobies and Newbies or Doobies?
No, Boobies and Newbies. Like titties and noobs.
I mean, I like titties, but Boobies and Doobies would have been more up my alley.
That would have been kind of actually pretty good. Change the name of your podcast.
Blunts and boobs.
Gave you no idea.
The blunts and boobs. There you go.
They said, I don't think I usually use the word hate, but I will say that I cannot stand Los Angeles drivers. Absolutely the worst.
I can imagine that. That would be pretty bad.
I've heard a lot of things, yeah.
LA, New York, Chicago. Pretty much if you live in
Chicago.
any metropolitan city, your traffic is shit.
Fucking Houston. Hate driving.
That's why when we go to Austin at the end of January,
Don't go through Houston.
We are not driving.
Okay.
We're just Ubering that shit the whole time. Like, cause everybody's like, oh, you're not going to rent a car? Fuck that noise. No, hell no. Why? So I can get hit and I got to pay for that bullshit? Nope. No. Not doing it.
I'm with you. I don't
No.
like
Even Detroit's traffic is terrible.
I don't like traffic in Detroit.
Nope.
I certainly don't like traffic in Dallas. I don't like traffic in Houston. Definitely don't like traffic in Chicago. I can't even imagine traffic in Los Angeles.
Can we just say we just don't like traffic in general?
Traffic in Los Angeles, T-Money would have to give me like a Dramamine or something. I'm sure of it.
No, because you'd be sitting in traffic jam so long you'd just be asleep. You wouldn't even.
I'm gonna say
that's the point.
You just stop the car. Take the keys out and just.
That's the
recline
point.
the seats and take a nap.
Yep, he would have to give me
Is it like
a Dramamine while somebody
unmotion
drives
sickness?
Around.
Unmotion sickness. There you go. Yeah.
But no, yeah, you're right. I-75 down around Detroit rush hour. It's not like it's an oxymoron. That no.
Nope.
There is no rush.
Gridlock.
I know, right? I'm like, there is no actual rush because you're not
it's
actually
nothing.
moving. But the next one we had came from Besotted Geek. They are at Besotted Geek Pod. They said the massive screw job that is/was MoviePass. Signed up for the annual plan like idiots and got probably 3 months of it before it became an overglorified theater finding app. MoviePass was a big controversial thing. I almost put that on my list of worst things that happened this year, but I don't have MoviePass, so I was not affected. Sorry.
I didn't even know what it was. So.
MoviePass, it was.
They almost won $100.
Right.
Sorry.
No, MoviePass was actually. What's the best way to try to explain it? Basically, it was kind of like a movie theater credit card almost, to where you would get like discounts on movies and stuff like that. You could go see something as many times as you wanted and all this kind of stuff. But after a while, they started limiting the new releases that you could see more and more to the point where it was just like, yeah, you can watch fucking, I don't know, some shit that's been in theaters like for like 4 weeks. Now you can go see it for free or for a discounted price or whatever. But it's like, well, what's the fucking point? You know,
I might as well just pay full price.
Right. It's like shit. A month or two out, it's like shit. If I wait another month, it'll be on DVD. Like, why am I even bothering?
Right.
Which is funny enough because Venom came out on DVD in December and that shit came out in October. And I was like, shit, man, the turnaround on that was quick as fuck. But yeah. So it's like, yeah, if you gotta wait more than like a week, then it's like, just wait for it to come out on DVD. It'll be on Netflix before the end of the year. It's fine.
Either that or you'll see so many spoilers online, you can piece the movie together anyway. Yeah,
that's what I hate about not seeing movies right away. Because I'm like, I have to just avoid social media altogether.
I do have to say I've been doing a really, really good job about not seeing anything about Aquaman.
Oh, I've had the whole movie spoiled for me already.
Oh, like I see his face and I'm just like, nope.
Scroll past, nope.
Which is really hard because I'm in a Jason Momoa group on Facebook.
Oh, then shit. I'm shocked, yeah.
Which one?
I don't know.
Right? Momoa makes me wet group
yes,
unite.
I'm sure something like that, yeah.
Momoa makes me aqua.
Right. There we go. That was good. The next one we got is from Travis at Travis Flesher. He says, fuck, broke my leg in March in a motorcycle accident.
Damn.
And he even sent us like a picture on Twitter. If anybody's interested, go to our Twitter page and you can see the motorcycle. It looks fucked. And then he also sent a picture of his cast and he's got like fucking pens and all kind of shit.
Hello humans, it's Francine. Sorry for the abrupt interruption. But our fearless leader Mike C² fucked up. We lost a good chunk of the audio here and had to re-record the rest. In doing so though, he forgot to actually finish out this segment. Don't worry though. You didn't miss much, just the usual rambling and dumbass jokes you would expect from them. That being said, thank you to those who submitted your responses. It's only 2 weeks into the new year and it's already a shit show. Sigh. Okay then, moving on.
All right, kids. Now we are on to. I'm so mad.
Calm yourself and go.
I am so mad. Okay. All right, kids. So we are going to do our finale of our obligatory year-end best and worst of list. Now I'm going to break down the rules from last week, just in case anybody didn't hear our best list, so everybody understands how this goes. And the rules are as follows. 1. The numerical position of any given subject on these lists do not indicate our quote-unquote like of that subject over any other subject on said list. There are plenty of things not included on these lists that we liked or disliked, but we wanted to keep these lists at 5 with 1 honorable mention apiece. The position of these subjects is random. These are a collection of things we enjoyed or disliked in this, the year of our Lord, 2018. 2. These lists are comprised of movies, TV shows, games, anime, and other events in geekdom from the prior year. It would be illogical to make comparisons of subjects on these lists based on their numerical positions to each other, seeing as though two subjects may or may not be comparable, and trying to judge which one is quote-unquote better is silly. We're going to go round table again. I will start first, then we will have Mel, and then Benwah will be last.
Sounds good.
So, my dishonorable mention, Logan Paul's trip to Japan. This was some of the most outright disrespectful and culturally ignorant things I've seen a YouTuber do with this much of a following. Not only was he just monumentally obnoxious, loud, crude, and stupid, but he deliberately filmed a dead body and posted it on YouTube, and nothing happened to him. Sure, he went on an apology tour and made some videos about suicide prevention, not because YouTube or anybody else made him do it, just so he could get some good PR because people were pissed off at him. He is a vile human being, and he and his raving fan base of 13-year-old fucking girls should be fucking ashamed of themselves. Fuck you, fuck that channel, and fuck YouTube for allowing him to stay on a platform even after all this bullshit happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, Mel, you're up.
My dishonorable mention is going to be short and sweet. All of the motherfucking challenges that were in 2018. I swear to God, if I see some stupid YouTube challenge come across my screen, I'm going to smack the people who run YouTube, and that's just going to be the end of it. I hope to God that we're all a lot more smarter in... Lot more smarter? Yeah, we're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Hope that we are smarter in 2019, because if I see all these dang teenagers and young children and grown adults doing these challenges, I'm going to go crazy and probably take myself off the internet.
Sounds fair.
Yeah.
All right, Benwah, you're up.
Well, okay. I kind of mentioned, it's not really kind of like things that would fall into any of the categories you mentioned before we even went off listing these. And I'd forgotten about the whole dishonorable mention or honorable mention thing. However, I did have enough in mind at trying to rank them. I do have something that's technically did not fall in the ranking, so I guess I can say that's a dishonorable mention. And that's going to be Mr. Conor McGregor throwing a fucking guardrail at a bus. Remember that shit? Like, come the fuck on, man. Like, I want to be upset with him, but I'm going to kind of quote Jim Cornette when saying that UFC is doing better WWE than WWE. Like, you can't write this shit.
Okay. All right. Now, my first one, or I guess fifth one, whatever you want to say, number 5, is the Tide Pod Challenge. Now, between the condom snorting challenge and the fire challenge, I thought that I had seen it all. I mean, you can't really upstage that, I didn't think. But the Tide Pod Challenge was a whole new level of stupid. The sad part about it is that in reality, there were not that many people actually doing it. It wasn't this epidemic that the media was making it out to be. Yes, there were some people who were doing it, but it mainly was just a bunch of fear-mongering and some desperate-ass YouTubers trying to ride a quote-unquote trend and go viral for doing something stupid. Now, people are doing the fucking Bird Box Challenge, And I say, if you're gonna do it, then go all the way, take off the fucking blindfold, and jump out a goddamn window. Like, don't half-ass it. If you're gonna do the Bird Box Challenge, don't just put your blindfold on and walk toddlers into a fucking wall.
Bird Box Challenge.
Yes, the Bird Box Challenge is they basically just blindfolded themselves and pretended to go around the house and not be able to see. Well, I guess they really couldn't see. And there was this guy, and he was holding his little toddler's hand, and he walked him into a fucking wall. And I'm like, why? Like, why do this? Like, you know what? If you're going to do it, put the blindfold on, walk out into traffic, and then I'll be impressed.
I'll say I walk into walls without blindfolds. So.
That is true. Unfortunately, DJ Melly Mel is a little clumsy, you know.
A little?
Yeah, okay.
I rolled my ankle on a football this week while saving a basketball.
What the fuck?
In a bowling alley.
Oh my god. None of these things belong together. Like, that sentence is just, okay. All right. Mel, you're number 5.
I kind of categorized mine like I did last week. So, worst stupid moment was Tide Pod challenges, oddly enough.
I know there'd be some bleed over.
Yeah. You know, when we were kids, and I can't say that I'm completely innocent of this, but our parents would get the bar of soap and we'd get a good mouthwash and with some soap, and there are a few differences here with this. One, we weren't ingesting it. It just went in the mouth and then you rinsed and spit with water. 2, we were not intentionally swallowing soap. And if we did, our parents were standing by to flush it out of our systems very quickly. We weren't trying to hide it. We certainly weren't posting it on the internet. And, I'm sorry, a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, basically anybody over the age of 5 should know that laundry soap does not go in your mouth. I don't know how they got past that weird rubbery condomy feeling that's on the outside. Like, I think they had to bite into it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you had to break
bite
it with your teeth. Yeah.
No, that's gross. I would really rather not, and I would rather also not vomit when the burst of soap is in my mouth.
Yeah, and you don't want your internal organs turning to shit and your esophagus and everything else.
I'd pass on all that.
You know, spoiler alert, that's just not meant to be eaten.
Right.
For a multitude of reasons.
Right. And the whole it looks like candy thing, no.
It never did, though. I never got
it's colorful,
that.
But
sure, but at no point was I like, that shit makes me hungry. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, no. So, damn Tide Pods. I don't even use Tide Pods. Like, I'm cheap, and I buy the big 5-gallon bucket of laundry soap where I can wash 116 loads of laundry with, the little blue powder or liquid stuff. I don't know. I guess I had more common sense as a kid.
Common sense ain't common. Don't
not
ever
anymore.
underestimate
That's
that.
true.
Do not underestimate the stupidity of human beings.
That
I
is
swear.
true. That is true.
All right, Benwah, you're up.
Prepare to get political, because a few of these are gonna, they're gonna strike up some. Maybe they'll strike controversy, maybe they won't. But it's something we spoke about in the previous podcast. Articles 11 and 13 of the EU Copyright Directive. That's my number 5. As the limitations as to what you can show and or put in links themselves, and basically websites needing to censor any material which could be uploaded or posted to prevent copyright infringement. I'm hoping. I haven't really read anything about how they voted on that yet, if they have this year, but I'm hoping it doesn't go through, because that could set a precedent for the rest of the world.
My number 4 is Venom.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be there.
Yes. Now, I was negative about this movie from day one. Sorry, I'm biased. Venom is literally nothing without Spider-Man. All of his rogues are just other symbiotes or D-list villains that nobody gives a shit about. But Sony is bound and determined to keep milking the Spider-Verse for everything that it's worth. Or Venomverse, or whatever the fuck we're calling this bullshit. The one saving grace, the one thing that had me excited was that Tom Hardy would be playing Eddie Brock, but he is either given really terrible direction or his acting choices needed to be rethinked from the ground up. Between the shoddy CG, the flat humor, neutered ass action, because it was supposed to be rated R, but then it was PG-13 because we wanted kids to see it, I guess.
The missing 40 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. And yes, in the missing scenes and everything else, a bland-ass villain and Hardy's ever-changing dry mouth accent and weird quirks. This movie reeks of the edgelord mentality from the 90s of leather jackets and motorcycles with this extreme badass shit.
You know somebody's jacking off over that.
It's like if somebody took Mad Max, Mountain Dew, and like fucking flubber and threw it in a blender, that's basically what Venom would have been.
That's probably why I like it to some extent, because I am, a true kid of the 90s, and all of those things still sound appealing to me.
I guess.
There's a Bowling for Soup song where it says she's stuck in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be me.
But 95.
Well, no, not necessarily.
But I mean, I don't know. Hopefully one day Marvel will get the last of its characters from the clutches of Sony and give Venom the treatment he deserves. Hopefully the third time's a charm, because between Spider-Man 3 and this bullshit, whatever they do with it next, it has to be better. I hope.
We hope.
All right, Mel. Go ahead.
All right. Number 4 was worst timing of a plot on an episodic TV show.
Ooh.
And it's not gonna be what everybody thinks. The worst timing was when WWE had the nerve to take the Shield 2.0, or, for those of you that don't know, the Shield that was back together and is now no longer back together. Anyways, the night that Roman Reigns come out and relinquished his Universal title was very sad. Multitude of reasons. He announced that he has leukemia, is back, and he cannot be a fighting champion if he's battling leukemia. 2 fights cannot go, they can't coincide. So his best friends, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, they come out and they're very upset. You can see they're showing real emotion and real tears, and, they're concerned for their friend. And I'll be damned if they don't win the tag team titles for the Spirit of Roman. And then Dean Ambrose turns on him. So this was very bad timing. One of the most truest emotion nights in history of WWE, and they ruin it by breaking up this brotherhood that was...
Breathe. It's gonna be okay.
I know. It still makes me mad. It was just bad timing. It was tacky. It was very bad timing. They could have done it any other night. And, it had been him turning heel you'd been leading up to it real quick. Mm-hmm. Could have done it the night before or the week before. Could have done it a couple weeks after. Not that night. It was bad timed. And I think, WWE caught a lot of flack for that.
As they kind of should,
yeah.
Honestly. It's like, do we really want to work leukemia into the storyline? Yeah, sure, fuck it, do it. Yeah, it's fine. All right. Okay, Benwah, you're up.
It's good to bring real life situations into wrestling storylines, but there is a borderline of taste, and they may have crossed that line. Number 4. Now, you might not remember this, or it might not even hit your radar, but we had a lot of natural disasters in the country last year. Between the wildfires in California, Hurricane Florence and Michael, Storm Alberto. Fuck, there was a cyclone that hit Massachusetts. And hell, we had an eruption, a volcano eruption in Hawaii. Like, a lot of shit, a lot of damage, a lot of people hurt, a lot of deaths. It's hard to think that all this stuff is truly a natural disaster. I mean, like, the volcano, yeah, some of these storms maybe, but I mean, they're happening more frequently than they used to. That's got to be systemic of something.
My number 3 is Telltale Games shutting down. Telltale Games, who is best known for their story-based titles. They've developed games like Back to the Future the game, The Wolf Among Us, The Walking Dead, Tales from the Borderlands, and Batman the Telltale series, and Minecraft Story Mode. They had some of the best adventure/story-based games with these cool branching choices that affected the outcome of the games by the end. they had a loyal following and were right in the middle of releasing The Walking Dead, the final season, when they went bankrupt. Unfortunately, a lot of people had pre-ordered the final few episodes of The Walking Dead, and they will never get to see that story finished. A lot of people lost their jobs. It sucked for them, and, you know, you're probably not going to get refunded for those. I mean, maybe they decided to go ahead and do it, but I'm pretty sure that money's just down the drain at this point. I know that they kept a little skeleton crew to try and finish up the Minecraft story mode for Netflix, but I don't even know how that's going to pan out. So, yeah, that was my number 3.
Number 3.
Yep. So you're up, Mel.
Okay. My number 3 was the worst dance of 2018. And no, it is not the floss, just because I know how you two are. The Kiki challenge, or Kiki dance, or whatever the hell you want to call it, where he's all like, yeah, I don't even want to sing it because everybody knows it. I fucking hate that song. Absolutely hate it. It's so stupid. Like, I don't see the point. I don't see how it's popular. I was hoping that somebody'd get hit by a car. Just because you want to jump out of a moving car, that's typically what happens, is you get hit by another moving car. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I always want to get in that song. And when he's going, Kiki, do you love me? No, Kiki's a gold digger. Leave the Kiki alone. And just back away, go find you a classy lady, and quit worrying about Kiki. Actually, all the girls that he names off in that song, they just scream no. Just, I don't know, some hood rat something or another. Who knows? Yeah. So, number 3 is definitely the worst dance of 2018.
Yeah, you know, I think if maybe the song wasn't so terrible, I could maybe not hate that dance so much. I mean, it was dumb to be getting out of a car doing that stupid shit anyway, but that song was fucking bullshit. And the fact that Drake had the most weeks at number 1 on the Billboard charts was bullshit, because between that and God's Plan, I was like, Drake put out some bullshit ass music this year. I don't know why everybody's loving this shit, but
I'm not a Drake fan anyway.
I enjoy Drake, but this shit, I'm like, yeah, he can keep all that shit. Like,
T-Money likes Drake too.
Yeah, I'll say God's Plan was for you to put out some bullshit ass music this year, I guess.
He's got the no, I don't remember what the name of it is. It's the other Drake song that come out that wasn't Kiki and it wasn't God's Plan. It was Nice for What.
Oh yeah,
that's his ringtone. I'm like,
it's better than the other two. I'll give you that. All right, Benwah.
Number 3, the premeditated murder of former Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. He was the one who was exiled from Saudi Arabia and then got killed in a consulate on Turkey. That they said, oh no, first Saudi Arabia said no, he didn't die at first. Then they turned around and said yes, and that the murder was premeditated. And Trump said no, they didn't do anything. And bad. You shouldn't get no, that shouldn't have happened. He was a journalist who got exiled for speaking up against the government, and a couple years later they killed him. Shouldn't happen. And not just that, but our president was like, no, the prince didn't fucking kill him, because that's back when we was getting a lot of money from them because they were going to make some investments, as well as what Mel was just talking about, WWE. They ran 2 major events there, neither of which had any women's matches. And the second event they ran there was after this murder took place. However, they stopped announcing and promoting it altogether after that happened, but they still went through with the event. And both John Cena and I believe Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, refused to work that event. But Hulk Hogan showed up. That's my number 3. No journalist should ever get killed for speaking up against their country. And then our country, or rather our president, and this wasn't bipartisan. When our president is like, oh no, this didn't happen, the prince didn't do this, both the Dems and the Republicans were like, hold up. They called him out on that shit.
Okay. So my number 2 is Netflix cancels the Marvel shows. So supposedly the shows were canceled because their ratings were down. But there are shows that are on Netflix that are much worse than these. The Ranch. The story that are much worse than these. The story, quality, and production wise. It's funny because this is more of a dick measuring contest between Netflix and Disney. Because Disney is pushing up on Netflix's turf, like they trying to take their little drug corner and shit, and Netflix is pissed off about it. So this is their retaliation. First it was Iron Fist, which, okay, I get that. The show was pretty shitty, and I heard season 2 wasn't much better. I still haven't gone and watched it, and honestly, I probably should soon because it may not be there much longer. But
vanished without a trace.
Right, pretty much. He's like, I am the immortal Iron Fist. Like, define immortal, because you just got canceled. But they canceled Luke Cage a week after Iron Fist, which was during the premiere of Daredevil's 3rd season, which didn't bode well. Then that was canceled, and now the Punisher season 2 is coming out, I think, January 18th, and the clock is only ticking on that, and it'll really only be a matter of time before that and Jessica Jones is gone as well. What really sucks, though, is that the contract that Netflix and Disney have together with these shows, it dictates that even if Disney did want to bring these shows to, like, I don't know, Hulu or Disney Plus, whatever they are planning on doing, it wouldn't even be able to happen for at least another year or two. So,
oh, hell.
By the time it comes back, if it comes back, they probably won't have the same actors, won't be the same storyline, and it'll just be a rebooted, different version with these characters, but the shit that you watch,
it ain't even worth watching at
right,
that
so
point.
far, none of it means anything. So if you did enjoy Daredevil, I hope you really like season 3, because that is the last of these version of these characters that we're going to see again.
Yeah, that's all you get.
They said, fuck you.
Yep.
All right, Mel.
All right. My number 2 is Worst Song of 2018. All right. Now, parents across the nation are going to agree with me here. I hope. Most of them will. It's bad. It's so bad that when it comes to a 65-year-old woman at Christmas and she's playing this song, it's like in one ear and festering in your brain and coming out the other as blood and pus, and it's just oozing your brain out. Do you remember when we were kids, the lamb chop?
I do. I am very
fond. The lady
fond.
with the lamb chop puppet.
I am very fond, yes.
She sang the song that never ended. Well, this song is 10 times worse than the fucking song that never ended. It's worse.
What? Worse? I like that song, though. It's annoying, sure, but okay.
Yeah,
right.
You haven't heard this song.
No, and I'm kind of glad so far from how you're describing it.
Okay. Well, it is the fucking Baby Shark song. And I know you looking at me all crazy. Baby Shark is a little kid, and he's got like a cutout thing of a shark, and it plays Jaws music in the back. And it starts off, and the kid's going, Baby Shark, doo 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 doo. Mommy Shark, doo 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 doo. Daddy Shark, doo 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 doo. And then it gets to the grandpa and Grandma Shark, and they're like, Grandma Shark, doo doo. Oh my God! It just...
Now, is that supposed to be because Grandma and Grandpa Shark don't have teeth?
Yeah.
It's
So
gums.
Yeah, there's like dance. You move your hands in a little dance move, and the three first sharks are all normal, and then the grandparent sharks you fold your hands in.
It's ageist.
And they're like gummins.
Ageist.
Oh my God! I'll have to play it for you afterwards because you're looking at me like I'm making this.
Yeah,
shit
I
up
feel like
or
I need to
something.
hear it now because I think you might not just be giving the song its due.
I'm gonna take pictures of your reaction. But that was definitely the worst song of 2018, and it doesn't help that my grandmother was playing it at Christmas, and I wanted to sneak away and get some rum and something because it was horrible. And then she started playing it, and then little kids wanted to watch it and listen to it, and you got people crying and people singing Baby Shark and people dancing, and my grandma brought that shit back from Nebraska with her. She went, my cousins 2 and 4, and they taught their Alexa how to play Baby Shark, so they can tell the Alexa to play Baby Shark. And my grandma went out and got an Alexa specifically so she can tell it to play Baby Shark.
With all the things that you could do with the Alexa, that's what you choose.
That's what she wants to do.
It can't even play our fucking podcast, but it'll play Baby Shark. No,
One Giant Leap for Dicks, but oh no, it can play Baby Shark. It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I'm so glad that by the time I have children, Baby Shark will not be a thing. And I'm sure they'll be efficient in technology. However, they'll never be able to find that video. Ever. Ever.
It's going to become the new Rick Roll.
Yeah.
Instead of fucking never going to give you up, it's just going to be like, Baby Shark did it.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Just, it gets stuck in your head.
I'd say it sounds catchy.
Yeah, catchy. Like I said, I'm going to take pictures.
Right, it's like catching herpes.
Syphilis.
Herpes of the ears. Oh, all right, Benwah, you're up.
Oh, I know what this is. Okay, yep. Not okay. Realistically, if you hear it one time, fine. But that song got played to death. Do you have any idea last year how many shootings happened at either a school or on the campus of a school? Over 90. These weren't all fatal. Some did result in injuries. Over 100 people were either injured or killed in things with guns, be it something as simple as a BB gun or a misfire or an actual school shooting. Hell, before I think May, up until May, we had one every week. Well, technically, if we had over 90, it's more than one a week for the year, but still, the most school shootings, I think, ever per year in the history of this country. But that's my number 2, which means my number 1 I probably think is worse than school shootings. So yeah, it's going to get bad.
Okay, so on to something not so dark. My number 1 is the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God.
So, this movie was god fucking awful.
Garbage.
Yes. Now, for a multitude of reasons, from the confusing timeline, the dead on arrival humor, the really inconsistent character motivations, especially the wife astronaut who goes up there.
Don't get me started.
The whole thing of we're in a different Earth and her family's dead on her Earth and she wants to go and be with that family. I'm like, and do what? Kill the mom of these kids? What the fuck? You can't just...
Yeah, that's not how that goes.
Right, look, you're not a lesbian couple. You got 2 moms. It don't work like that. One of y'all gotta go. The really bad special effects and the cardinal sin of shoehorning the Cloverfield monster in at the very end of the movie. Now, this is the second time that they've done this. People let it slide with 10 Cloverfield Lane because that movie was actually pretty good.
I like that movie, except for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it's they throw in all this shit about aliens on this other stuff. It's you could have just made a kidnapping type movie and it'd have been fine. People would have liked it like it was. You didn't need to pretend it was connected to Cloverfield.
Right.
But people let that one go. But this time, Bad Robot just kind of slapped the Cloverfield label on a shit movie and tried to trick people into watching it. They even went so far as to put scenes from the original Cloverfield into the trailer for this during that Super Bowl Sunday ad where it's coming right after the game, only on Netflix. And people are like, oh shit, Cloverfield. No, this was just some tacked on bullshit. This movie had nothing to do with Cloverfield. And they were just we'll film a couple scenes and throw the monster in at the end and then people will be happy. No. Fuck this movie and fuck Bad Robot for refusing to make a true sequel to Cloverfield. What's crazy about it is they know that there's a desire to see another movie. If not, they wouldn't keep doing this shit.
Right.
If you don't think people want to see Cloverfield 2, stop calling these movies blank Cloverfield blank. Just be done with it. Either make a Cloverfield 2 or don't, but fuck off with this bullshit. I'm really over this. I can't trust anything with the name Cloverfield in it anymore.
Right.
From here on out, if another movie comes out and it's called Cloverfield anything, somebody go watch it in my stead. Tell me if it's actually a sequel, then I'll go check that shit out. But I'm done giving these motherfuckers my time and money to get fucking Rick-rolled into a bullshit-ass movie that ain't really what I want to see.
Right. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
Eat a dick.
Ain't happening.
All right. Mel, you're up.
Okay. My number one is, it's a little saddening. Very saddening, actually.
I don't want to cry again.
Yep, here we go. So, my number one is the worst celebrity death of 2018. Stephen Hawking was, kind of very sad.
Yeah.
Great man. However, he was not the ultimate Mr. Stanley.
Excelsior.
Let's take a moment of silence.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad. So sad. I don't think I've ever been truly upset about a loss of a celebrity. And we had a lot in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
We had a lot. It was like one every week. And I'm like, damn.
I know.
Slow down here.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually sad about the death of Stanley. I was very sad, actually. And I had some people ask me why. They're like, why? You didn't know him. That's not the point.
No, but you kind of felt like you did because, he made a bunch of stuff that, is a part of your childhood and still your adult life now.
Absolutely.
It's like you can appreciate someone for what they did even if you didn't know them.
Absolutely. And it was just sad. I didn't...
And it was fucked up, too, because people leading up to this, people were like, oh, y'all better hurry up and get Infinity War out. Stan's on his way out. People were only half joking when they said that. But they were kind of right. And I still stand by what I said. They killed Spider-Man, and then Stan died right after that shit.
Yeah, he's like, nope, that's it. I can't take it no more.
Right. Thanos dusted his ass, too. He snapped his fingers, and he was just like, dust.
It's kind of humorous, but not about the death. I saw a thing on Facebook where the Grim Reaper was standing there and he's laughing with Joker, and Grim's like elbowing him. He's like, yeah, I had a really good run in 2018. Ha ha ha. The Joker's laughing, and the next thing you see is Joker's got his hands around the Grim Reaper's neck, and he says, hands off Hamill. Or Hamill's off limits. Hamill's off limits. That's what it was. And I'm like, yep. If they take Mark Hamill, we've already lost Carrie, and
yep.
we're going to have Han Solo left, and you know what? He's not looking the best either. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, no, Harrison Ford is going to kill himself crashing another fucking airplane with his silly ass.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
yeah, you can't take my favorite Joker.
No,
fucking bullshit.
You ain't taking Mark Hamill. Joker said.
Yeah. All right, Benwah, you're up. Number one.
Okay, number one, the number one worst thing of 2018, and this, I say it's the worst because it's going to affect us for at least another few decades and possibly future generations for even longer, given the effects of this happening. This is going to be highly divisive, but if you are a listener of this podcast, you probably won't be bothered by what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to preface this by saying my other four have been relatively political, if not directly somewhat politicized. My number one, our newest Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh. He was still appointed. Our justices are lifelong unless they decide to retire. And just given his decorum during the hearings, I don't think he's fit to be a regular judge, let alone somebody on the Supreme Court. And he is leaning that Supreme Court to be more conservative, and that worries me because he is not a fan of abortion. So, he could be a vote that ends up getting rid of Roe v. Wade. And it's more to it than that, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I'm just worried about what could happen given the nature of him and how Supreme Court justices are lifelong. And so I think that is personally the worst thing of 2018, if for nothing more than the potential. And yeah, if you don't like that, come at me. Eat a dick, fight me.
So, surprise, I have actually a bonus one.
Uh-oh.
I did not like this movie, but I was not going to put it on my list, but I have it as a special bonus for a special someone, and you know who you are, Stork. Because you shit talked with me on Twitter about this movie, and I cannot believe that you and Peacock, just listening to your review, I was like screaming at my phone the whole time. They're like, well, I don't get why people don't like this movie. Like, I thought it was pretty good. Like, I don't get all the hate for it. Let me tell you why. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Thank you.
Now, they basically, I mean, the first Jurassic World is basically a reboot of the original Jurassic Park. And then with Fallen Kingdom, all they did was turn around and rebooted the Lost World Jurassic Park. Everybody hated that movie because nobody wants to see the dinosaurs headbutting buses in San Francisco and all this other shit. That's not what makes Jurassic Park fun. The conceit of the movies is dumb. We all kind of accept it, but it was just cool because it was a good story and it was cool to see dinosaurs for the first time in a movie that actually looked pretty good.
Right.
But they just took it to a whole new level of stupid, and they keep going down this dumb ass thought process of we're going to make the dinosaurs into weapons. First off, why are we making more dinosaur hybrids after the T-Rex Raptor hybrid killed everybody in the fucking park and went apeshit? And now it's like, oh no, it's okay. We'll make him smaller, faster, and even smarter than he was before, and even more deadly. It's like,
yeah, that's a good idea.
why? Like, who thought this was a good idea? The first, third of the movie, it's not great, but it's
tolerable.
It's okay, because, I mean, it still takes place in the park. I like the whole concept of, there's a volcano.
Right.
They gotta go try to save the dinosaurs or whatever, yada yada.
They don't save the dinosaurs.
Well, they take them, but they're not saved. But then, the last 2/3 of the movie takes place in a mansion like it's a fucking Resident Evil game and shit. It becomes this weird horror movie. And it becomes meta and shit. There's, scenes where the raptor, winks at the camera.
Oh, yeah, and them fingers.
Yeah, and he's, creeping up on little girls under the bed and all this other shit. I'm just like, what is this? This is so fucking dumb. I get it. There was the scene in the original Jurassic Park where the raptors are smart and they learn how to open the door handles and shit, but I don't need these motherfuckers, hiding in the shadows, waiting to spook you and gotchas and all this shit. I'm like, what is this? Okay. This is my biggest... Well, one of my two biggest pet peeves of this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
First off, it was dumb trying to make a new raptor, whatever the fuck, hybrid for this movie.
Endoraptor.
Right, the Endo, right. Brought to you by Snoop Dogg. I don't get it. But they trained the raptor to kill people using a gun. Now hear me. A gun with a laser pointer on it. And then they push a little button that makes a little sound noise, and then the raptor goes and attacks. And it's like, go get him, Skippy, go kill. If you have
worst game of fetch ever.
Thank you, right? If you have
it got lasers, freaking sharks, freaking lasers attached to their
oh
freaking
my
heads.
god, it's almost like it's a joke,
right,
for real.
Right.
If you have a gun with a laser pointer on it, and you have found your target that you want to kill,
Just
fucking
shoot
shoot him.
Right.
You don't need to send the Indoraptor running across however much distance to kill this person. Just blow their fucking brains out and be done with the shit. That boggled my mind of how that is somehow a better option than a drone or a tank or missiles or a fighter jet or anything else. It's sure, we have dinosaurs that can kill people, but they're not bulletproof. They're not invulnerable. You can still kill the dinosaur. It might be a pain in the ass, but I'm sure if you saw a raptor charging at you from a distance, y'all would just unload into him. It made no fucking sense. Then, the worst part of the whole movie, because there's cloning and all this other shit, and you find out that the grandfather's little girl is actually his daughter, and she's a clone of the daughter, and all this other dumb shit. The dinosaurs are getting killed by some gases being released or some shit, and they're like, hey, we have to be responsible. We can't let them out into the world. They'll just cause fucking havoc, and we can't do this.
Right.
And the little clone bitch, she goes, no, they must live. I'm a clone too, and I want to live, so open the doors and let the dinosaurs out. And it's are you fucking serious?
Be like, hush now, child. No.
They should have blew her little fucking clone brains out all over the goddamn console.
Well, damn.
Yeah,
I don't know about that far, but damn.
Look, she ain't human, no how, fuck her. She don't get to live. I'm at this point, I don't understand where the movies can go after this, because they pretty much, like I said, they did all the same mistakes that they did in The Lost World. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to see the dinosaurs running around San Francisco, and by the end of this movie, you got the T-Rex roaring at a fucking lion in a zoo and shit, and it's just really?
I'm saying nobody wants to see that giantess, the mega whatever.
Oh yeah,
in the water.
Yeah, pterodactyl. Oh yeah, that big whale
big-ass
thing.
Whale.
Yeah, and they do show it too. Yeah,
Dude's
that's free.
surfing and he's just swimming along. Oh hell no! I love the water. Love the water. Like I'm probably part mermaid or fish or something. But if I saw that thing swimming,
oh yeah, no fuck.
The only thing I would swim in would be a swimming pool.
Or your own piss, because you'd be scared as shit.
Yeah.
Which is so weird, too, because now that you bring that up, they retconned the first movie, because in Jurassic World, that tank that thing was in the middle of the park. And they made it a point to say how it's separated from the ocean so it can't get out. In Fallen Kingdom, it gets out and swims into the ocean. And I was like, wait a minute, that was not set up that way for him to get out like that. So they changed that part just to be like, hey, look at the end, it's a callback to earlier in the movie when we let this thing go. It's like, now, I've heard rumors that the director or somebody, producer said like, oh no, you won't have dinosaurs running around the city in the third movie. Then what happened to them all? So we're going to say, oh, they all got caught and captured off screen and we put them in another fucking park? It's like, you do this shit a third time, it's like, fuck you, I'm done. Like, I've checked out of the Jurassic Park movies. They can eat a dick too. Sorry.
Lots of dicks tonight.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of dick eating tonight. That is so weird. Sorry, Stork and Peacock, though. I mean, I feel like our friendship has to end over this movie. I'm sorry to draw the line in the sand with this particular thing.
Hey,
but
I even defended Venom, and I can't defend that.
No, I hate Venom.
I swear that this was our longest movie review that we did.
Either that or Cloverfield Paradox, one of the two.
Yeah, we hated them both equally.
Yeah, honestly, I would watch Venom 10 times over before I'd watch this again.
Yeah. Stork and Peacock, though, you seem like cool people, so... I'm not cutting you off completely. Can't say the same for Mike.
Nope, shots fired. Nope, hashtag not sorry, not sorry. Movies. We watch one. Let's talk about it.
I was trying not to look at you.
So as you can tell from my awesome intro,
we watched a movie.
We did watch a movie. Yes. We watched Upgrade. I don't know why I'm doing it.
Because you keep comparing it to Venom.
I was just going to say that. I don't know why I'm doing a Venom voice, but
you know why.
Yeah, it's because it reminds me a lot of Venom.
It doesn't remind me.
Yeah, I know, because you didn't see it.
Thank God.
I don't know. You might have liked it. I don't know. I mean, our tastes differ when it comes to movies. But anyway, that being said, yeah, we're going to do a movie review for Upgrade. The movie has been out for a bit. It's out on DVD now. We're still going to do the review mullet style. So if you don't know what mullet style reviews are, we would do non-spoilers in the front and then spoilers at the back. There will be an obvious point where we will go into spoiler territory, so do not worry. If you haven't seen the movie yet, you can go ahead and skip the end, or if you have seen it, you can go ahead and listen to it the whole way through. Or if you don't care about spoilers, who gives a fuck? You can listen to the whole thing the whole way through. That is up to you, but you have been warned. Now, Upgrade is a little movie, a lower budget movie. It was directed by Lee Whannell. He is the writer and director of the first, or I think he was like a co-director of the first Saw movie. You've seen the original Saw, right?
Nope.
Wow, you've never seen the original Saw?
I haven't seen any of the Saw movies.
Okay, well, for those of you who have seen this first Saw movie, the co-director, he's actually in the movie. He is the guy who, not the one who cuts his foot off, but the one who gets left in the room. Not the doctor, but the other guy. He's the director. I think he's like helped make some of the Insidious movies and Annabelle.
Oh, I've
and
seen
that kind
all
of
those.
Stuff. Yeah. So he dabbles in horror quite a bit, but this one's kind of like a sci-fi horror thriller kind of thing. It's kind of like a little bit of everything. The main characters in this one are Logan Marshall Green, who plays Gray Trace. She's kind of a main character, I guess. Melanie Vallejo, she plays Asha Trace. And there's a few other character actors who you probably don't know, but that's not important. The important thing is, this movie is what Venom should have been. Now, if anyone's seen Venom and Upgrade, or if you've just seen the trailers, you know what I'm talking about. They have a very similar premise. There's a guy who gets another entity in him, personality, whatever you want to call it, and it is trying to control him and get him to do things that he wouldn't necessarily do on his own, and that's basically the premise, and it's like a revenge story and stuff like that. It's funny, because this was made with way less money, and it even has a poor man's Tom Hardy in it. Poor Logan Marshall Green. If you don't know the actor, look up comparison pictures. Just look up Tom Hardy and Logan Marshall Green, and just look at a side by side of them, and I swear to God, it could be like his doppelganger. It's like creepy. So, a little bit, just kind of like the setup, without spoiling it. Gray Trace, him and his wife are in a mugging. His wife is killed, and he is turned into a paraplegic. And he has a microchip implant put inside him that is supposed to help him with his mobility. And as the film goes on, he finds out that the microchip has artificial intelligence, and it talks to him. And he is trying to hunt down his wife's killer and the people who made him a paraplegic in the first place. And the chip is amplifying him and basically turns him into like the $6 Million Man, pretty much. Minus the sound effect when he jumps and shit like that. Though if they would have threw that in there, I would have totally been like, hey, why not? Now, I did admire the fact that the movie took its time to show how hard Gray's situation was before he gets the implant. Because in the movie, he spends probably the good first 20, 30 minutes, just straight up paralyzed. Like we don't get into the action and stuff right away.
No.
And like, how did you feel about that? Like, did you think that it took a little bit too long to get there, or?
No. I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Just because it made you not feel sorry, but
well, yeah.
kind of feel sorry for him. But when you see the rest of the movie and see how hard he had to work for it, I guess.
I think it makes you appreciate his situation a bit more, because a lot of times in movies similar to this, where it's like something bad happened to them and then they get some kind of power or something like that, like they kind of go past that part kind of quick, and you don't really get time to really understand like why they're so angry and stuff like that. Kind of like, for an example, just to throw one out there, like say for like a Batman movie, his parents are usually killed in the flashback or at the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then it's like it jumps to present day. Like you don't really get to see him mourn and cope with that and get past that. Batman Begins does actually a decent job of showing the toll it took on him, but it's all told in like flashbacks and shit anyway. And it's like you don't start from that point and go on.
Yeah.
That being said, one of the things that I really liked in this movie was it had some really cool camera work. That it gave the fight scenes this kind of unique energy that I haven't seen in anything since like the bullet time in the Matrix movies. And you know what I mean? Like the whole slow down and spin around and all that shit. Like
it looked like the camera was spinning almost.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like followed him. Like when it's in the trailer, like when he's on the floor and the chip takes over and he like hits the ground and sits up, like the camera sits up with him, and then when he throws the guy, it kind of like goes back and he's like doing flips and shit, and it like flips with him. Like it was a cool little gimmick with the camera, and I was like, that was cool. I think that it made the fight scenes energetic and like more amped up than just like a normal like stationary camera and you just watching two people fight. So I thought that was really cool. The cast was good, but obviously the standout is Logan Marshall Green. It's funny because I I really didn't care for him in other movies. You didn't see Prometheus, did you?
I don't think so.
No, he's in that, and I didn't care for him in that. And I've seen him in some other like little slower budget indie movies outside of that, and I'm just like, he never really did anything for me. Because like I said, he was always poor man's Tom Hardy, so it was just kind of like, well, you know, I guess.
Nah.
It's like, you know, if you want to see Tom Hardy but not, then sure, you can watch him in something. But I think that he actually really made a name for himself in this one, and it actually is making me look forward to other projects he does in the future, because I thought he was really good in this.
No, he was really good. I liked him in this.
The movie is about 2 hours, but it did feel quick and to the point, because I looked up the runtime after we watched it. I was like, wow, really? That was almost 2 hours? I was like, it didn't feel like it.
No.
Even though, you know, we said at the beginning how they spend a good third of the movie with him as a paraplegic, it was engaging enough to the point where I didn't feel the time. Like, I actually wanted to see his struggle and, you know, like how he functioned and stuff like that after the whole mugging. And it was just kind of planting the seeds for what was to come later. And it set up a lot of foundation, but again, it just didn't feel like it was drug out too long. Because there's some movies where it's just like, okay, come on, I get it. He's fucked up. Like, let's go to the next thing. But this did a decent job of the pacing. I appreciated that. Now, there are some plot twists, and it was unexpected, but still felt like there was enough, you know, clues and breadcrumbs sprinkled out to where it didn't feel like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of did, because, I mean, that's kind of the point. Because you're not supposed to be like...
Honestly, I probably wouldn't have guessed it.
Yeah, no. But I think that once they show what the plot twist is, and then they flash back to stuff, it's like, oh, okay, like...
Like, I start almost guessing, kind of, towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they gave us the final bit, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And they explain, but at the same time, once we get to the spoiler section, I did have a little bit of issues with the ending and like how things played out, because I was like, well, if this happened and if this person was doing this, then why not that? So, but we'll get there. Now, the villain. The main villain was interesting, and he was pretty charismatic. Fisk.
Uh-huh. Not Wilson.
No. Not Wilson Fisk from Daredevil, no, unfortunately. Because it was funny when we were watching it, because we just watched season 3 of Daredevil, a few months ago?
Yeah, I think a few months ago.
And so when they were like, oh, you know, it was Fisk and his men, I was like, wait, what the fuck? I was like, holy shit, the Kingpin's in this? I was like, hell yeah, bring out Vincent D'Onofrio. Where he at? He's slamming motherfuckers' heads in car doors and shit. So I was like all about that, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. It wasn't the
That'd have been cool if it was him.
Oh, no, that'd have been dope. Could you imagine him fighting the Kingpin at the end? That'd have been dope as shit.
That'd have been awesome.
Hell yeah. Him, Daredevil, and Punisher just team up and jump his ass. Oh. But no, I did like the villain, though. I liked seeing him on screen, because he was like one of those villains that was charismatic in a way to where you like the scenes that they're in, but you can't wait to see them die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he was like one of them...
He's kind of like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, one of them, like...
He got everyone to do his dirty work for him.
That, and he just felt one of them, like, slick, slimy motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying?
Like that one dude, what was his name from Luke Cage?
Shades.
Our boy Shades.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me, gave me vibes of that. Yeah, not quite the same kind of charismatic in the same kind of way, but that kind of oozy. Like, he looked like if you were to touch him, he'd be greasy.
Yeah.
like you'd have like a residue on your hands from touching him. He was that kind of slimy kind of way. But I really did like him though. Now, to what my point was from before, there are a few contrivances that occur involving Gray's case that bothered me, that we'll get to a little bit later, but just kind of the way that they handled the investigation into his wife's murder and stuff, I was kind of like, y'all don't really seem to be all that concerned with this. Like, y'all are so caught up in this other shit that it's like, did we forget that his wife is dead and he was paralyzed?
With all the technology they had, they could have done a lot better.
Well, he even makes it a point to say that, and to the detective, he's like, you get all these drones and you're watching us and facial recognition and all this other shit, and you telling me that you have literally nothing?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I did have some issues with the ending as well. There, like I said, there's just some things that just, once they give the full explanation of what happened, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, then if that's the case, you could have skipped like half of this movie and got straight to this point immediately. Like, why even go through all this cat and mouse shit if it was just going to all end up to this anyway? So, yeah. I was on a good high watching the movie, but then, like I said, once the plot twist happened, I started questioning it too, because you know how I get.
Yep.
I overanalyze everything, and once it hit a certain point, I was like, I don't know. Like, now I'm you kind of took me down a little bit. So my rating did change from like the last 15 minutes of that movie changed my rating down one level. Cause I was like right there, and then I was just kind of like, that kind of knocked it back a little bit for me. Now, as far as what we got from the setting, I really liked how it was in the future, but it was a plausible future. You know what I mean?
Like it could have happened. It could have been really there.
Like there was enough stuff there that I would buy that this is our world, like maybe 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
Because there's smart cars and
smart houses.
Right. And drones and stuff like that. And like I said, facial recognition and all this kind of stuff. And these are things that exist now.
Oh, yeah. Just not in the capacity that's in the movie.
Exactly. It's just like a step beyond what we have, but not much further though. Like within our lifetime, I could see a lot of this shit being implemented and being a normal everyday thing for, I can totally see a time within our lifetime where we, for the most part, won't drive cars anymore.
Hallelujah.
There's even a scene where they're in a car, because Gray's character is very adverse to technology. He's kind of like a, I guess he's a mechanic.
He likes to drive.
He like works on older cars and stuff like that, and he likes to get his hands dirty and do manual labor.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like having machines do everything for him, which is ironic because then later, the machine literally is like puppeteering his body.
Exactly.
But there's a scene where he's in the car and he is just kind of sitting in the passenger seat, and he like tries to fuck with the steering wheel, and the car is like, please do not touch the steering wheel while the car is in motion.
And his wife is just like, sit back.
She's like, just stop fucking with this shit. Just leave it alone. What did you think about his wife, though?
I liked her character. I think I would have liked to see more of their relationship.
And, I think that that's a good testament to the actors and the chemistry that they had on screen together, because you don't get a lot with them, but it's enough to where, like you said, you wanted more. And I think that's kind of like the point. It's like, hey, we want you to care enough about these two characters being together that you want to see him get justice for her.
Yeah.
And you kind of mourn with him the fact that they're not together anymore, because it's like, but they were good together. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
How about our I guess the for lack of a better word, the scientist, like the Mark Zuckerberg of the movie?
I thought he was a little weaselly.
Yeah. What do you think his deal was? Was it like, he seemed like he was definitely an introvert?
I was gonna say he definitely did not like people.
Yeah. Like, do you think he was? Because at first I was like, is he like supposed to be like autistic? Is that?
You think everyone's autistic? No, I think he just liked to be alone. He was smart. He's probably an only child. Like,
true, but I mean, he even makes it a point to say when he visits Gray in the hospital, he's like, I don't like, oh, was that too much? Like, I don't, know, like,
He don't
what's
talk to
offensive
people.
and stuff like that.
He even said that he don't talk to people.
Yeah, but on some just
He's not autistic.
primal level, I'm not trying to make a case for him being autistic. I'm just saying, on some primal level, you
He
can
doesn't
tell when
so-
you're making somebody uncomfortable.
He
when
doesn't
you said something.
socialize.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory, he don't know when he acting like that.
True. That's fair. Okay, so he's the Sheldon of the movie.
Yes, exactly.
He's like, here's this chip, bazinga.
Exactly.
I would have shot myself in the face. Oh, man. Now, before we go into spoiler territory, what about the detective? How do we feel about her?
She stuck her nose in too much, but not the right stuff.
Yeah, now, is she the girl from Orange is the New Black? The one that died? Philae?
No.
She looks like her.
I don't think she looked like her. Let me look it up.
Oh, yeah, because we're going to wait for that. No, let me see. Let me find her in the cast list here.
She definitely was not. And if she was, then I wasn't paying attention.
You probably just weren't paying attention.
Because I watched the whole movie.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I Detective Cortez. Okay, Betty Gabrielle. Let's see. She was in The Purge election year. She was in Get Out. Oh, she plays the maid in Get Out.
Yeah, she was not on Orange is the New Black.
Okay. I was like, because I've seen her in something else. I'm like, she looked real familiar. Yes, she plays the maid in Get Out. Okay. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I thought she was a good character. I did like her, but it was one of those characters where it's like, she's the good guy, but she annoys you because it's like, why can't you just do this? Like why can't you just pay attention to this? Why are you so caught up in that? Okay. They do kind of look alike.
A little bit, but not identical.
No. We've talked about everything that we can without going into spoilers, because it's really hard to talk about this movie without going into spoilers.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and give our rating. Now, if you've never listened to one of our reviews before, we have a 5-tier rating system. It goes really fucking liked it, meh, hated it, and really fucking hated it. Very simple. It's really easy to follow. So, there's no ambiguity in this. It's like, hey, no 5.5 star or 5.5, Jesus, 3.5 stars or some bullshit like that. It's like you're either
cut and dry.
Yeah, here or there. So, Amber, what would you rate Upgrade?
I liked it. I didn't think it was really fucking liked it. But
really?
Yeah.
Because I distinctly remember by the end you said that you had a really good time with the movie.
I did, but coming back now, there wasn't a lot of moments that I'm like, oh my god, I would watch it again. But
okay,
I liked it a lot.
Do you think it was too gory? Do you think there was too much?
Some points, but we've seen worse.
True. I mean, I did enjoy the gore, but I didn't think it was any worse than, say, like Halloween. Like, it was just enough to be like, oh shit, but they didn't linger on it for too long.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you just watched them, like, dig somebody's fucking eyeballs out their sockets with a fork or some shit. It wasn't, like, quite that bad.
That's horrible.
But there are points where there's implied violence and gore, but you don't actually see it.
I think there was one point where I, kind of closed my eyes so I wouldn't have to watch.
Oh, was it the kitchen fight?
I think so.
Where he's in the guy's house?
I watched it, but I think I had my fingers over my eyes.
Yeah, and that's in the trailer, too. Like, if you've seen the Red Band trailer for this, there's a part where he splits a dude's mouth open with, like, a knife, and it's like, holy shit, like, that's what sold me on it in the trailer. I was like, I am definitely seeing this movie. I think I'm right there with you. I'm at a liked it. Like I said, I was at a really fucking liked it for a long time, for like 90% of the movie. Then, like I said, that last 15 minutes, once that plot twist kicks in, I was just like, not that I didn't like the plot twist, but then I started questioning the logic of how we got there. And I was like, well, if this is the case, then why did we bother with half of this other shit?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go into the spoiler section. So if you haven't seen the movie, you can back out now. It is up to you, but you have been warned. So insert siren sound here. The detective who is in charge of his case, Detective Cortez, she seemed way more interested in catching Gray murdering these people than she did actually solving his wife's murder. Like, she was way more proactive in his shit than she was trying to stop these people.
Mm-hmm. So much so to where she bugged him.
Yeah, like literally put a bug in his jacket or some shit. Yeah. And it just pissed me off because I'm like, okay, when he comes to you, it's like months after the fact. Like, he's been in a coma for
3 months or something like that.
Yeah, for 3 months or so, and all this other shit. And he's going through physical therapy, and now he's back home and all this other stuff. And it's like, he shows up to the police station. She's like, yeah, we got some suspects, but, nothing's panned out so far. And that's it. And that's when he says the line of, he's like, you tell me you got all this technology and shit, and you ain't worth a damn.
Mm-hmm.
He even makes kind of like a meta joke about the story later, where he says to her, he was like, well, yeah, you're useless. Why don't you just let a fucking computer do it? Kind of talking about STEM, the implant that he has. Now, STEM is supposed to just be this thing to help his motor functions, and he sends signals from his brain to the chip, and the chip, is like a bridge between his nervous system and his brain, and it moves his body on his command.
Mm-hmm.
But come to find out, STEM has a mind of its own, and it has its own ambitions and wants as well. And it's kind of helping him, but for selfish reasons.
Yeah. It's like he wants to take over the world.
Type shit. Yeah. And, okay. So, when we talked about the gore and stuff, all the deaths in this movie, they were really cool and kind of gory, not too crazy, but enough to be like, oh, shit, like, that was fucked up. From the dude with the knife in the mouth to...
Oh, it was the eye scene.
Oh, where he puts the needle in a dude's eye to watch back what he saw. Yeah.
And didn't he take his eye out?
No, he didn't take his eyeball out. He just stuck the needle down into it, and he was like replaying it in his eyes.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't watch.
Yeah, from the guy with the knife in the mouth to the dude with the gun arm, where he breaks his arm and turns it back and blows his own brains out. That was really cool. The elevator shooting, because remember when the security people were coming to pick up Gray?
Yep, when he was paralyzed.
Yeah, when he was trying to override the protocols or whatever in STEM so he could not shut him down. You're like coming up the elevator because he's like, oh, they're going to send a team to come get you and this and the other, and we got to get this shit overrode so, we can keep doing what we're doing. And they don't even get to the same floor he's on before Fist shoots the shit out their ass in the elevator and killed him. And I'm like, well, y'all were worthless. Like,
pointless.
But weren't they enhanced or some shit too?
I thought so.
That's what it seemed like, at least. But then they just got immediately killed, and I was like, oh, well, that was a waste. And the way he kills Fisk, I thought was really cool. When the table breaks and like his head gets stuck on the glass and pushes him down into it, I thought that was really cool too. So this is one of the things that kind of was throwing me off, and I kept questioning it because I'm like, what's happening here? Throughout the movie, I was confused as to why Gray kept seeing Asha throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's multiple scenes where he sees his dead wife, and he even has a dream where he wakes up in the hospital and she's still alive and he's okay and shit.
Yeah.
And he like comes out of it, and it's just like, was that STEM fucking with him, or was he just longing for her so bad that he was just hallucinating her?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I know, because it was never, they never explained it, and it happened at like random times.
Yeah.
It was never like, oh, there's a catalyst to this, and that's why he's seeing her right now. It was just kind of like random moments she would just pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And that kept throwing me off. I was like, so we're not going to explain what's going on with that? I mean, I guess the excuse you can make is by the end, he kind of goes to his happy place in his mind where she's still alive and they're together. So maybe that was kind of like trying to see, like, oh, he's ready to just snap mentally or some shit. I don't know.
Maybe.
My favorite scene, though, is when Gray tries to overdose on his medicine.
That was ridiculous.
Like, that was actually my favorite scene in the movie. Because it really made me feel for his character, and it made me want to see him get his revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had hit rock bottom by that point.
Yeah.
Because, his wife's dead, and he's living in his worst nightmare now. He's a paraplegic, and he can't do anything for himself. He was always a hands-on person.
Mm-hmm.
And now he literally has to have machines feed him, brush his teeth, everything else. He can't do anything for himself anymore.
No.
And if it's not the machines doing it, it's his mother, like, giving him a bath and turning him over so he don't get bed sores and shit. And I was just like, man.
Shaving him, brushing his teeth.
Yeah, and he, like, breaks down at one point, and he just cries on her. Because he was kind of stoic for a while. Like, you knew he was upset about it, but he didn't really show any emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But then he finally just breaks down because he's just like, look at me.
Yeah.
This is what my life is now. And I thought that one scene of him trying to kill himself was, like, really powerful. And I was like, okay, now I'm really on board. Like, now it's like, we got to get these motherfuckers. Like, I wanted to help him kill these motherfuckers by that point. Now, okay. I kind of teased it throughout the regular part of the review, but now I'm going to kind of get into what my issues were and what took me down from a really fucking liked it down to a liked it. I have questions about STEM and the plot in general.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find out STEM was behind everything, there are just parts that just don't make sense to me.
Okay.
Like, okay, so for example, one, why not just kidnap Gray from the beginning and give him the implant? Like, why bother trying to convince him to do it?
Or even, like, killing Asha or...
Well, they said that wasn't really a part of the plan. She was just collateral damage just
Yeah.
because they were just some grimy motherfuckers and shit, and they just wanted to rob him, I guess. They were like, hey, two birds and one stone type shit. Like, she was never... Because the whole time, he's thinking that they were going after his wife because it kind of seemed like it was some, like, corporate espionage type shit going on because she was working for a rival company.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they had her killed or something, and then you find out, like, no, the mission wasn't her, it was you the whole time. And then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay. So she was just kind of collateral damage, pretty much. But my whole thing is, you didn't need to paralyze him and kill his wife and all this other shit. It's like what is his name? Aaron?
Yeah.
The Mark Zuckerberg of the movie, the Sheldon of the movie. He explains that STEM, he doesn't control the company anymore. That STEM has controlled the company now for years.
Yep.
And he orchestrated everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was pretty much controlling him. He had him on lockdown in the house and everything else. Even when he was outside, he had an earpiece in telling him what to do and what to say and all this other shit. And I'm like, well, if you were the kingpin of all this shit, why did you need to do all that? You could have just, like, when you gave him the job to fix the car, you could have just kidnapped him right then and there and just
Yep.
put the implant in him and just been done with the shit. Like,
There would have been no movie, though.
true, but it would have been a different kind of movie. But
Yeah.
it was just like, it didn't make sense to me why play this long con with him. 2, if STEM was controlling Aaron, why did Gray need to get a hacker to override his protocols? Couldn't STEM had just told Aaron to delete them in the first place?
Theoretically, yes.
Because if he was controlling him, not like physically controlling him, but he was like
But-
making him do this shit.
At that point in the movie, STEM didn't want him to know it was him.
Didn't want who to know. Aaron knew from the beginning.
No, Gray.
Yes, but I'm saying, my point is, he's like, you have to override these protocols because Aaron's going to shut us down.
Yeah.
Why would STEM even let him be able to shut him down?
I don't know.
Like, that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, wait, so if you're making Aaron send out this hit team to paralyze this dude and kill his wife and do all this other crazy shit, why not just go, hey, take these safety protocols off so I can just run this motherfucker once you implant me in him, and I can just control his body, from the get-go and not have to deal with all this other in-between shit and trying to make him break down mentally so I can take over. Like, that didn't make sense to me. 3. While Gray was in a coma, couldn't have they just had implanted STEM then? Like, he couldn't have just kept Gray's consciousness suppressed and not have to wait for his mind to break in the first place? Because I would assume while he was in a coma, STEM would have just been the dominant personality.
Yeah.
And they could have implanted him then Gray might have never even woke up or came out of it and just suppressed his memories and personality and just did it that way.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird to me that he needed to come and, like, coerce him into agreeing to getting the implant and telling him, oh, why this is a good thing and it can help you and all this other kind of stuff. It was like, why even bother with that shit? Like, if you've gone all the way to the point where you've paralyzed this motherfucker, you could have just stole his body from the hospital. It's not like you ain't got a group of half android motherfuckers running around killing people anyway. They could have just ran up in there, killed people in the hospital, took him, brought him back to your house, put the implant in, and been done. There you go. Like, those are the things that, like, bother me, because I was like, well, if he's running all this shit, why would you bother with any of this other shit in between? I don't know. I mean, I did like the relationship between STEM and Gray.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cool. They kind of had a little funny, like, back and forth. That's why I said, this is what Venom should have been. Like, it was funny in parts, but yet it took itself just seriously enough to where I bought into it, but it wasn't just stupid.
Yeah.
Like, Venom was just dumb. Like, oh, God. The less said about that movie, the better. But one of my favorite things about this movie, not just the fight scenes or the premise or anything like that, my favorite thing about this movie was the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the fact that it was dark, and it was one of the few films that the villain actually wins at the end.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the movie, he kills the detective, he kills Aaron. He's taken over Gray's body. Anybody who knew about it, like all the mercenaries and all that shit, they're all dead.
Yeah.
So he can just live out his life now as Gray, and nobody knows. Exactly.
Except his mom.
Yeah, he probably gonna go back home and kill her too.
That's bad.
I'm sure that's a deleted scene where he went and just stabbed the shit out of her with a pen or some crazy shit.
Wow.
Broke some plates over that bitch head like he did to do in the kitchen. I did like, though, the fight choreography in this. Like, whoa, damn, I forgot his name. Joseph Gordon-Green? No, am I saying that right? I always want to call him Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but I know that that's not right. He, just the way he fought, Logan Marshall Green, I'm sorry. Just the way when he would fight, like how you could tell he wasn't in control, but it was still this seamless, like he would just like snatch motherfuckers up, take them, throw them against the wall and shit. And he always looked like he was shocked at what was happening.
Like
I thought
a puppet.
I thought that was really cool. Especially after he beats the shit out of them dudes in the bathroom and he gets on top of the dude and he's like, you didn't know I was a fucking ninja.
Yeah.
Like that was really cool. I don't know, the way that it's set up by the end, it seems like there could be a sequel, but I hope it doesn't.
I wouldn't want to see a sequel.
Yeah, like, cause I read some stuff when I was watching some, spoiler reviews and stuff of it, and like the ending explained and all this kind of shit. And people were talking about like, oh, well, you know, it kind of leaves it open for a sequel and maybe, you know, Gray can try and take back over from STEM and it's like, I don't really want to see that.
No.
Don't get me wrong, I think if it's written correctly, it could be good. But I think it ended the right way. Like I said, it's one of the few movies where the villain wins at the end.
Yeah,
I like
just
that.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, because I hate in movies, especially where it's like artificial intelligence and stuff, it's like, you know, the humans outsmart them with emotions or some logical fallacy or some shit. And I'm just like, I don't buy that. I'm like, if it's this super smart and super capable artificial intelligence, like, why does it always lose at the end?
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's like, nah, like, this is me now. Like, like I'm running this body. Though, is it just me, or wouldn't it have just made more sense if STEM just had him build him like a robot body?
He could, but it's more believable and no one would know.
Sure, but what purpose does it serve for him to
I don't know.
have a human body? Like, what is he going to achieve after that?
He'd fuck all the bitches.
Right, that bionic dick. Yeah, like that was one of the other things that kind of just threw me off, because I was like, well, if he wanted this, okay, but why? Like, to what end? Like, what does he gain by being human? I don't know. I mean, like I said, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. I'm not bashing on it by no means. I know I may sound negative about it, but I did really enjoy it. It was just, like I said, once the plot twist kicked in, I'm just, I don't know. It just bothered me. Though, I did like the fact that, you know, on a pretty much probably shoestring budget and not a lot of big name actors, like, they were able to do something that $100+ million movie with crazy special effects and a big name actor like Tom Hardy could not do, and I left the movie enjoying myself. I was like, I liked it.
Yeah.
Even with its flaws, even with some of the weird plot choices, I was still like, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, too, just as time went by, it kind of changed my mood about the movie a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like looking back on it, like, I think if we did this review right when we seen it, I might have been able to overlook some of that stuff.
Probably.
But
But now it's been like a week.
Yeah, I'm like, but now that I've had time to really just sit and think about it, I'm like, yeah, that don't really make sense. You could have just bypassed a lot of this other shit. Or, why not just go into Aaron?
Yeah, I didn't understand why he didn't do
Maybe
that.
he's like, Aaron's a bitch. I don't want to be this little weak ass motherfucker. Hell no. I want to be somebody cool, like poor man's Tom Hardy. No, but I think all in all, we both enjoyed the movie. We didn't love it, but we did like it a lot.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Yeah, you know, it was definitely a good movie. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't see this in theaters, because I wish I could have supported it in theaters, because you don't get movies like this often, and if you don't pay to see it, then they look, all studios know is box office receipts. And if they see that the movie didn't make a lot of money, they won't care how artistic it was or how well it was received. It's like, hey, if a lot of people didn't go see this shit, we're not gonna do this no more. So I'm kind of bummed that we didn't see it in the theater, but I am glad I watched it.
Yeah, I am too.
Because from everything I heard about it, it was positive reviews and positive feedback, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna check this out. I'm like, I made the wrong choice and saw Venom over this, but now that we've got it in, I'm glad that we did. So I think we would both say, if you got 2 hours to kill, you want to see a fun little movie that, you know, is gonna be pretty well paced, got good action, good gore, a good story.
Grab some pizza, sit down,
Yeah.
watch the movie.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good watch. So, that is it for us. Thank you again, kitties, for joining us for another review.
Meow.
Right. Like, not that kind of cat. All right, kids. But that is it for the show. All right, before we go, Benwah, tell the people how they can find you.
If they still want to find me after hearing that, catch me on Twitter at Benwah Gaming, or on Twitch, twitch.tv/Benwah. That's BENWAH. Watch me play video games, or just say hello to me. It makes me feel special.
Now, as for the show, you can find us at our home at onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com, or we are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or really anywhere else you get your podcast. Now, make sure to show us some love, so go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you want to find me personally on Twitter, I am at Froggy Beaver. Still learning the whole Twitter thing, but
Grandma will respond to you.
I get it there.
She'll get her flip phone out, and she'll be like, get my reading glasses,
I got
baby,
the
I got
tweets.
some tweeters.
I got the tweeters on the internet. But no, I will get back to you. I'm trying. I'm learning one thing at a time. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, or you just want to say hi, you can always email the show at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can find us as a show on Twitter at Giant Leap, the number 4 Geeks. We are on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram. I think that's all of them. Yeah, just search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.